Hey team, today we are back with another front-end mentor challenge. This one is the FAQ challenge. This one right here, this pinky purpley one. So what we're going to do is we are going to make this accordion. Now I have done accordions in previous videos, but this one, it has a lot of styling going for it. So I want to, on the one hand, take it on, and on the other, I want to show you something new. Okay. And that looks like this. If we jump over to our example right here, you can see that we have this really nice opening and closing effect. It's all animated. The icons are changing. There's a hover state, right? And of course, there's responsiveness if I wanted to get into that. So it's all right here. Now, this isn't going to work everywhere, okay? If we go back to Safari where I was and we check on this, right? Refresh it just to make sure. You're going to notice that it doesn't quite work. So this animation is not JavaScript, and that's the beauty of it. It is the perfect progressive enhancement where in browsers where it doesn't work, we just get this traditional non-animated look. And then in browsers where it starts to pick up, it will animate in really, really nice. I think it's quite slick. If you wanted to do JavaScript, I do have another video on that. So there are ways around that. But for today, we're just going to get into it and do it with strictly CSS. So back here to the actual challenge, we are going to download the assets, download the starter. If you're on a pro account, go and grab that Figma file. That's very, very important. And now we can go and use those files. So over into my terminal, I'm going to move that file, which was FAQ main.zip, to the current one. And I'm going to unzip it just like this, FAQ main.zip. Excellent, okay? And then CD right in there, just like before, main.zip. Git init, because we definitely need something. Git commit, git add dot. A lot of steps that we've covered before. Git commit -m. This is a chore task, and we are doing our initial commit. Okay. And now we're in a good place to start. So we can open this into our editor, which for many people will be this one, VS Code. Apparently I already have a bunch of stuff open. That's okay. Okay. And here we are. Now, same thing as before. I'm also going to open into Google Chrome. That's the browser that we're going to use for this. So just like this, that index file. Okay. If you had a runtime or some sort of build tool, this would probably open automatically for you. But because I'm building in just HTML, just CSS, it doesn't. I need to do that manually. Okay, I could have double clicked on an icon. I like to do it that way. And here we are. So back to code. Okay, into our index file. Same thing as before. Let's comment this out. I'm going to spend less time cleaning this, but definitely go and add your name just so it's out of the way up here. We are going to get rid of all of this and add our CSS file, which is right there, which means that we probably should add style.css. Excellent. We will use that shortly. Okay. Now, over here again, don't save it. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly in a hurry. Okay. Don't do that. Command Z if you've already done it. Okay. Starting from the top, we're going to add some markup. So using our favorite wrap with abbreviation tool, we're going to put that in an H1, okay? Just like that. While we're here, we may as well go and add in the icon, which is assets/images/star, okay? So that is, if we're over here, that is this, ooh, I'm dragging stuff around. That's not good. That is this star icon, okay? So we're getting that in place early, just so that we don't have to worry about it later on, okay? As we move down, making a little more room, we're going to grab this line and then multiple cursors if you can. Otherwise, you'll have to do this all one at a time. I'm going to wrap those in a summary tag. That's two M's. There we go. In a summary tag, because we're going to use detailed summary. We're going to use the browser to our advantage here, okay? Which is why we don't need JavaScript. That's why it works out of the box, okay? So right there, all these other ones, they all have 2 lines except for this first one. In order to make my multiple cursors work a little bit better, I'm going to back that out. And then I'm going to go and grab the first bit, multiple cursors, running it right down, getting the whole line, and I'm going to wrap this in a div, in a div and a p, okay? Making sure that I didn't have a class on there, which I absolutely don't, okay? Now, that's going to wrap everything up really nice, okay? And the reason for this is because I feel, at least for detailed summary, I feel everything should be in a container. That way, if I have another paragraph in here with some other text, right, it all just fits inside of this. And I'm only styling one container for the details content, okay? So that's why I do that. And then the paragraph is just a point of politeness so that when I add other things, it works well, okay? Moving on. We are right here. Excellent. So we're going to grab all these. This is our multiple cursors again. We're going to back it out. And the nice thing for me, at least, is that the number of lines is perfect. So I have selected this block, then down here, this block, and the fourth block right there, 4 different cursors. And I can wrap this in a div, okay? In a details. Now, while you're here, go and add name equals FAQ, okay? In square brackets. And what that does is it adds that name attribute, okay? So now we can hit enter, and this is what does the magic, okay? So at any given time, now that I've done that, I can save it, go back here, and at any given time, I can only ever have one open, which is kind of the traditional model for FAQs. If yours isn't, then you can remove that name attribute and just use it as is, okay? Now in the image, if we go back, they do have the first one open, so we're gonna go and get that really fast. That is right here underneath the H1. We just go and add open, okay? And now we can start to see it happen right here, okay? So that one's already open. Excellent, okay? We are not done with the markup yet though, okay? We still need to add a few extra things. For one, I want to wrap all those details up, okay? So if I go in right here, the first, the second, the third, the fourth, grabbing them all, wrapping them up into an abbreviation of .faq _ content. That's 2 underscores for me. You do it your way, okay? So that's there. We're going to use that in a bit. And then one more time, the whole thing from bottom to top, selecting it all. We're going to go and add our parent wrapper. Okay, we're finally at the point where we can do this. So wrapping it up, we are going to go main and then article.faq, okay, which is going to add that class of FAQ, okay? There we are, okay? We're not quite done though. Okay, I tricked you a little bit. So we have this, and it all sort of works, including the article tag changing how that H1 works. But it all sort of works. But if we go to our Figma file, you're going to see this line here, okay? And in a previous video, I talked about this a little bit, but the spacing on this line, if we back it out just a little bit, okay, and I get in here, the spacing is the same top and bottom. So if I tried to use border for this, then I would have to have padding of 24 and margin of 24, and I don't like that. That feels very uncomfortable to me to have both of those just so that I can position this line here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here, go down to the second. Oh, I don't have it. Where is it? Right here. I think this is the one. Okay. And I'm going to grab 2 of them. Okay. I don't want the very final one. I don't want that one. just these two, and then I can arrow over using the arrow keys, hit return and go HR, okay? Now when I save this, it's going to change it again because I have prettier turned on and it's trying to do a thing. This final backslash doesn't mean anything in HTML5, okay? That is a holdover from when we were doing XHTML, okay? Thankfully, it doesn't do anything. So if I try to delete it, right, it's just going to re-add it. It's going to be annoying. So I'm going to leave it for the moment. And now back to here, we have everything that we need to get this done. Okay. We can start to style it and do the stuff. Before we do that, let's go and commit. Okay. So right here, that style sheet, it is empty, but that's okay. So add, add all of it. Git commit -m. This is a feature for FAQ, and add markup. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. So we are into the styles. Okay. At this point, we can start working on the styles. They are right here. I've gone ahead and done some stuff. Okay. For one, I've put that very basic reset into there. Again, for production use, I'd probably use something a little bit more advanced, but for what we're doing today, this is enough. Okay. And then we have all of our tokens, and these all come from both a Figma file, if you have access to that, and this style guide. Okay. So right here, style guide, we have our colors, and here's why I did this ahead of time, right? It's one of these styles, one of the most important colors is not in this style guide. That's very weird to me, right? That's, somebody forgot it. And then sometimes that happens, right? So having access to the actual file makes sense. And the color that we're missing, of all things, is this, they call it pink, okay? It looks like more of a, I don't know, a dark magenta to me, I guess, but, or a light violet or something. But yeah, the light pink, it's used in the line, it's used in the star, it's used in here. It's also used for our hover state. So it's not there, and we had to go and add it. So I went and did that. Right there, we have the pink. It wasn't in there. It is now. I've gone ahead and extracted these a little bit more, starting to get comfortable with tokens. Tokens are still very new to me, but I'm trying to learn some. So I've gone and renamed some of these so that they're a little bit more useful to me. And that's what I did here. Okay. With some text colors and some fill colors. Our spacing grid, that came from the Figma file. Again, they're using an 8-pixel grid, which is, or a 4-pixel grid, which is really nice. Okay. Border radiuses, we only have one radius, but it changes from small to large viewports. So we need both of those. There's a shadow in here. Very, very interesting that everything is pretty close, right? From 274 to 292. Okay. This one is 281, which is very similar to our pink. Okay. So very cool stuff happening there. Max width, that came from the Figma file. And of course our fonts. Okay. So we have all 3 different text styles, font sizes, and they change based on the viewport width. Okay. So that's it. That's where we started with that. And then of course, adding in our very simple reset, which means that now we can go and get the font. Okay. So silly me, I close the style guide, but right down here, we're going to use 3 weights of this, work sans. That's what we're going for. So right here, opening it, getting font. It's already loaded in, which is nice. Getting the embed code. We only want one. It's probably going to say full axis, full axis. Okay. We only want one value here. We want the Roman. Okay. You don't need the italic for this, so you can cut down on some of the weight, but we do need a bunch of different weights. Wait. I was talking about the file size. We do need a bunch of different weights. So don't pick just one here. Pick them all for now. Okay. Go and copy that, bring it over to our code, HTML, all the way up and paste it in. Okay. So that's in there with our style sheet, and we are good to go there. And then we go back, grab this part, bring it over to our styles, drop it in right here. This is going to be, whoops, way too much. This is going to be body, okay? We can change this bit to be our font family, just like that. Our default font weight is 400, okay? And then we start to add some stuff. So making a little room, we have font size, which is -- textile 3 is our default font size, okay? So that's in. What else do we need? We need color, okay? There's a color in here. It's going to be text color body. Yes, very helpful, okay? Background color, which is fill color body, exactly that. And the last one is our line height, which is just 1.5, okay? So saving that, going back here, taking a look, everything is changing, okay? In a good way, obviously, okay? So we're going to get there, but we need a little bit more. Let's keep going. H1, okay? We only have the H1. We could do multiple headers and stuff like that. I'm just going to worry about H1 for today. It is textile 1, just like this. We have a font weight of 700. Color, which is text color heading, that one. Okay, that's what I did up here with some of these. If you didn't do this, then you could just go with dark purple. No problem. Okay, no problem. So what else do we need? We need line height, right? There it is. Now, what is the line height? The line height is actually auto inside of Figma. Okay, so if we're over here, we click on this, click into display, it says auto, okay? But this is one of those weird places where CSS doesn't have an auto, right? There's auto all over the place, but for line height, it doesn't have auto. It actually calls it normal of all things, okay? So not being normal by using normal, and we're there, okay? Some other things that we need, we're going to get that HR, okay? We set the border to 0 and the border block start to 1 pixel solid. We're going to change the color in a second. I just want to see the magic happen, which is here, okay? So it's a little bit thinner, a little bit nicer to look at, but we do need to color it, okay? So right here, that color is going to be our variable of -- fill color HR. Okay. So that's the HR. The last thing that I want to add right now is our image. In previous videos, we were doing picture, but we don't have a picture here. So I'm going to skip it and just go with SVG, just in case I want to place these later on. I have an idea there. But for now, display block. Okay. Just to set all of those styles in place. It is going to force this icon to wrap. That is perfectly okay. Okay. We aren't there yet. We're still working on stuff. And right now I want to commit this. Okay. So git add dot, git commit -m. This is style, add general styles. Excellent. Okay. Moving back, it is time to style our details, okay? And what we want to do, the only reason to style the details is to get the little bit of animation and the styling in here, okay? Summary does most of the work for us, but in order to get that animation working, we apply it to the details, okay? So back to our code right over here. This is where we add details, okay? And that details is going to be overflow hidden. As we animate it, it's going to want to show more than possible. So we're going to default to hiding the content, okay? Wherever it is, we're just going to overflow hidden it. And that way it works really nice, okay? If you want to try this later on, you set it all up and then uncomment overflow hidden and you'll see you'll see how messy it can be, okay? We need that overflow hidden. And then from here, we're going to add in something called details, details content, okay? And this is something that I grabbed from Kevin Powell, right? His channel, very awesome stuff with CSS. I think he found it somewhere else, but I will link to it. Details content is built into the shadow DOM of the details summary block, because details summary by itself is a browser level web component. Sorry, my mouth didn't want to work. It's a web component at its core. Okay, it has its own shadow root, stuff like that, and it gives us access to details content. Okay, now inside of here we are going to add block sizing of 0. Okay, this is a logical property. If you wanted to use height here, you can. Okay, there's no harm, no foul. And then we add our transition. Okay, transition, and it's going to be that block size for 0.5 seconds, and we need another one. So details by itself adds in content visibility. Okay, if I could type it, here we are. Content visibility, which we can't really change because it's put as a style, but we can animate it. Okay, so we're going to do that. The other things that we need, this is not going to work. We need a couple other things. The first thing being transition behavior way down here, and we're going to set it to allow discrete, just like this. And way at the top, okay, we need one more thing that we add just to everything. Okay, this is one of those new ones, interpolate size, and we set it to allow keywords. Okay, and this is the one that makes the magic happen. Okay, without this, we have no way of animating from 0 to auto, or from 0 to min width or min height or whatever it is. Okay, all those keywords, we want to be able to animate them, and that's what this allows us to do. Okay, so this is not going to do anything because we have not told it how big to be. Okay, so down here, details, open, details content. Okay, it is a mouthful, but at this point we can go block size of auto. Okay, now refresh it, and we should be able to see things working. Brilliant, right? It's really, really nice. Now, there's a catch here, okay? And the catch is this doesn't work in most browsers right now, okay? So again, I said it at the beginning. I'll say it again now. I'll probably say it at the end. But if you need this to work in every browser, then you definitely need JavaScript for the moment. I'm not going to go there because I've already done a video on that, okay? I will try to link to that as well. But for now, this is just working. The other thing that I want to add here before moving on is right up here, I want to add details, star plus star, like this, okay? And I want to set padding block start to be our space of 300, okay? Now, why padding? In previous videos, I have strategically avoided padding, but for this, you definitely want padding. And the reason for that, it's going to add that space, which is exactly what we want. But if we change this to margin, okay, just like this, margin block start, you're going to see that it stutters, okay? So it kind of jumps. And what's going on is that it collapses the content, and then it just poofs the margin away, right? So it kind of collapses, and then it goes, okay, margin should be 0, boom, right? Which is what's causing this little jump here. Okay? We don't want that, so this is one of the places where we break the rules a little bit, okay? And I feel like for styling details globally, that's perfectly okay. So there we are. We have it. That's everything that we need to animate this around the block. Okay, it just works, and it's great. It's awesome. Okay. The next part is the summary block, and the summary block does a lot of the work that we're going to do today. Okay, it does pretty much everything. They're using a pointer over here. I never know if they actually intend to display this cursor or not, but since they're using this little hand cursor, the pointer cursor, we're going to stay the course. We're going to add pointer. Okay, we're going to add our color because this is our heading. So right here, text, color, heading, yes. What else? We have so much in here. So font size is going to be -- text style 2, just like that. Font weight, this is 600. Moving down the list, we have line height of normal again. Okay, we're kind of unsetting it. So maybe I should have actually added this line height just to paragraph. I could have, right? Decisions. And what else? We need to get rid of the style. So we set it to none, okay? And that should start to clean things up, okay? You'll notice that the icon is gone. Now, this doesn't work in Safari. Sorry, let me clarify that. Let me reset. This list style none doesn't work in Safari right now. They have chosen to do it a different way. So we need to go & -webkit -details -marker and set that to display none. Okay. If we're only concerned about every other browser other than Safari, you don't need this one, but that's just a little extra bonus. Okay. We're always trying to think ahead about every other browser. We want it to work in as many places as possible. Okay. Moving down the list, we have to bring that icon back. Okay. So let's go and do that right here. We're going to set it to after, and we're going to add our content, which is going to be URL. Okay. That's going to be assets, images, star plus. Okay. Just like this. Excellent. So I can save that. We should be able to see something. We absolutely do. Okay. They're all plus sizes. We're plus icons. Sorry, plus icons. We're going to get to that. Stay patient for a second. Okay. I want to do one more thing here. Okay. And you probably, where is my background color? Did I not do that? So way up here. Oh, look at that. Nobody told me, because it's a video and how would you? But this should actually be background color. Saving it, refreshing, okay? But doing this means that the horizontal rules are hidden because they are the same color. So the rules and the body are the exact same color, which means I need something else. So just for a moment, I'm going to go down to FAQ and add in, whoops, use the right ones. Background color, which is -- white, okay? So I'm glad I caught that early because that would have been frustrating, okay? But right here, now we can see those icons. The other thing that we can see is that there's a little space here, okay? So first, let's get the alignment working, just so that we have that, okay? Right here in this one, right underneath list style, we can go display flex and line item center. Justify content space between. Whoops, do it right. Justify content space between. There it is. And I feel like we need one more. Yes, gap. We need that gap, which is -- space 300. Okay. So this is going to push things around, which looks really nice. But now that this is all lined up, you're going to see this weird gap here. Okay, and we did display block these. So where's this gap coming from? Well, that's partly how SVGs work. And so what we need to do is tell this how high it is. And it's a weird measurement. So right here, we can set the height or the block size, since I'm here, to be 31 pixels. Okay. Now if I do that, refresh it, everything is just a little bit cleaner. Okay, it feels a little bit nicer. We'll get to centering this up in a few seconds, but here we are. Last thing I want to do is take care of this hover, and then we will commit it. Okay. So right here, at media, y at media. Okay. Y at media hover. Let's start with that. In touchscreens, for at least some touchscreens, maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, but if you have a hover state and you touch, then it will activate the hover, and then you have to touch it again, and that's not a good experience. Okay. So what we do is we use hover for the media to say, hey, if it has hover, then go and do the thing. If it doesn't, then skip it and just click the button. Just do the thing, right? So this is one of those little tips that a lot of people seem to miss, myself included, for a super long time. And I've started adding it in because I really hate having to double click buttons on my phone. Just doesn't make sense. Okay. But let's go and get hover, obviously. And while we're here, let's go and do focus as well. Okay. Just like this, and set the color to be pink, right? That's where did it go? Oh, you know what? It is text, color, hover. I forgot what I did there. Excellent. Okay. So everything is working, and on our mobile view, our touch view, you're going to see that it doesn't do that. Okay. So we can still open this up. It all just works brilliantly. And then if we turn this off, we get our hover states. Okay. That was the focus, which we also have. So we're already taking care of keyboard navigation at the same time. Okay. We need that icon. I totally almost forgot that. So where do we put that? Okay. Now, it might make sense to go something like details, open, right here, summary, after, right? It starts to get a little bit heavy, right? Because we have the after selector, we have the summary, we have the attribute selector and the details, a couple tags, a couple attributes, a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't want to do that. Instead, I just want to go here. Okay. And we'll talk about why the attribute selector in a second. Okay. But in order to get here, I need this icon to be a variable. Okay. So I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to bring it all the way up here and go dash summary. Whoops. Let's do it as a private one. So underscore summary icon, and set it up. Okay. So right here, dash summary. I just don't want to be, I don't want to type summary. That second M doesn't want to work for me. That's so weird. But this variable, okay, which is, yeah, just like that. That's all we need. Okay. I thought I had to wrap that, but I absolutely do not. Okay. From here, I go down. I have a mistake because I haven't done this. It is summary icon. Okay. Nothing should really change here. Hopefully it absolutely did. What did I forget? What did I forget? It is saying something else. So, semicolons. Always with the semicolons. There it is. Save it, jumping back. There we are. And now, because we have this summary icon, we can grab that and paste it in here and go URL, which is, are you really not gonna, semicolons? They are tricky business today. They just don't want to work. There we go, minus. So if it's the open, we get the minus icon. If it's not open, we get the plus icon. And this should just work. Brilliant. Okay, that's it. That's the whole thing. right? Now we can just worry about spacing and getting it in the right spot, and then our background image, and we are good to go. Okay. So everything is working. Now, before I said I was going to answer this, so here it is. Okay. I used colon open. I used a pseudo selector here, and I used an attribute selector here. And the question is why? The answer is because colon open does not have full support. If it supports details content, it definitely supports colon open. Okay. But so these two together work really well. But for just basic stuff, we want this to be here. Okay. We want it to work everywhere. And the only way that we can get that to do that is by using the attribute selector for now. Later on, we'll be able to change this to this, but this has way less support than the attribute selector. So this is where we're going. Okay. Again, this is all progressive enhancement. We don't care if this fails, but we definitely want all of this stuff to work. Okay. All of the summary and the icon, we definitely want that to work, even if the animation doesn't. Okay. And here we are. Okay. We have just tons of stuff, tons and tons. So let's go and commit that. Git status, git diff to take a look. Background color, because I missed that. The details, the summary. Excellent. Git add dot, git commit -m. This is style of details. Ooh, spell it right. Here we go. Details, I guess. Add details, summary, globals. Excellent. Okay. Now we need to add in our compositions. Okay. And we have seen these before. We've seen these exact same ones. So I'm just going to jump back over here and paste it. Okay. We have our flow, which came from Andy Bell of Piccalilli, right? Works really well. It has some default styling. And then we have our challenge wrapper, okay, with our max width. We set max width to 600 above, so this is going to be changed out for us. And everything else just works. Well, it will once we add it in. So let's go do that. Class of challenge wrapper. Article, flow, yes, flow. FAQ, flow, yes, flow. And check it. Okay. Now everything's starting to space out, looking really good. We can add in some other stuff. Okay. So right now we should actually go and find something else. Okay. What do we need? Well, we should take care of this star. So let's do that. In a previous one, we used something called a cluster. Okay. Because it clusters them together. So we can do something similar, just like this. This is also display flex, flex wrap. Just let's do it right. Where is my completion? There it is. Okay. Just so that if it does get too small, it can still wrap. Okay. We're going to have a gap in here. Okay. That gap is going to be a variable. Okay. Which was cluster space, right? And what was the spacing? Let me try to remember. It was, well, it's the same. Okay. So we have that var -- space 300. Excellent. Okay. We need a couple other bits. Okay. The other bits we need are justify content start. Yes. Okay. Some people might put flex start in here. You can. Newer syntax is just to use start. And I think at this point, they're both very well supported. So you pick. Okay. Justify content start. And then the last one is align items. Okay. Align items center is what we did before. We can go and do that. But we want to be able to control this just a little bit more. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a new one. Okay. called cluster align. Go back to the beginning, add a var. And so this will allow us to change from something else, from center to something else, okay? We can go and use that right now. That is on our H1, class of cluster. Boom, okay? It's looking pretty good. The problem is, okay, and this is why we needed that other thing, okay? If we go over here and we set this and we start shrinking things down, at some point, the text gets small, but the star doesn't. We want the star to be controlled by the text size, right? We don't want another media query just to change this when we're already doing it for the font, okay? And so we are going to add one more thing in here. I'm going to call it has icon, okay? Because naming things is hard. And in here, we can go SVG image, right? We can go and grab those and add a height or a block size, if we're doing it proper, okay, of 1.1 cap. I'm sure there's a no cap joke in there, but what do I know, okay? So the cap is for the cap height, okay, which is this right here, right? The capital F. Actually, it's all capitals except for the S. So based on that, that's what we're sizing to. And when I was playing around with this, I found 1.1 to be the right size, okay? It's just a little bit bigger, kind of fits in the space nicer. And so everything kind of does a thing, okay? We can go and add that. Has icon, brilliant. Now it fits in here, okay? There's the top, there's the bottom. If we want to guarantee that this will always fit in the top and bottom, we can add that one more thing. So right here, whoops, dash cluster align. I should have just copy and pasted it. Baseline, okay? Which locks it to the bottom of the text, okay? Center is going to try and put it in the middle, and that's perfectly fine because this is all capitalized. But what about this little hook on the Q, okay? That could play havoc with our centering. So we want to make sure that this is right in lockstep with the capital letters, with the baseline. And that's what that does, okay? So we have that. We can keep moving down the page. At this point, we should start adding some block styles, okay? We already have one with the color. So border radius of dash radius small, okay? We're going to come back and change these in a bit. So we're going to go with the small measurements. And then we have our box shadow, which is getting rid of all of this, dash shadow. Yes. Padding, which is our small padding. Okay, the padding changes too. So dash space 300. Okay. And then because here's a weird thing. So if I refresh this and I close this, oh, it's not going to do it this time. So something magical is happening. Let's go turn this off. Get rid of this for a second. Okay. Refresh. I had it where it was changing the size of this box. So it's not doing that now. I did not like it, but now it seems to be working, which is weird. Actually, it might be because of this text. Let's go. So here's another catch, okay? This text is not 100% right, okay? And what I mean by that is if we go and look at the preview, you're going to see that it doesn't say Frontend Mentors Challenge. It just says Challenge. So I'm going to change that just for a second here. Scrolling way down, getting rid of this. There we go. Back here and refreshing. Yeah, there it is. See? If there's room to collapse this down, it will try to do that. And I did not like that. So I want to go into here and set width or inline size to not none, 100%. Okay. And that way it is always 100%. It guarantees it. Okay. So just like that. What else? We need some flow spacing. So let's go take care of that. Flow spacing. Oh, let's spell it right. Dash dash flow spacing, which is 300, right? That's what we said. I use that here. Should just put it in the clipboard so that I have it all the time. Excellent. Okay. Now, at this point, things are going to get a little bit weird because we need to take care of FAQ details. Okay. Sorry, content. Let's do this right. FAQ content. And in fact, all we need is the descendants of FAQ content where we set flow spacing. Come on, flow spacing, space. Just making up words at this point. 250, okay? And that way it backs it out nice, okay? It's all nice and tiny. Now we can take care of some media queries, and this should be done, okay? Media queries look like this. At media, this is min width of 450 pixels because that is what I used way up here. Again, I'm making these up, right? That's a made up number. But the idea that your screen size is the right size for this, that feels wrong to me. So here I am making up numbers, right? Just to prove that I can. Way down here, we have it. I'm also going to need one in here. So let's just go grab this and paste it in. Okay. That way we are ready. Now, what do we need to change? Well, we need to change the border radius. Okay. So that one's changing. We can put that one down here. That's going to be large. The padding is going to change. So we can grab that down here. Should be 500, right? If I got this right, let me check. Yes, 500. And then we need to change this flow spacing. And I could just copy and paste this right in, call it a day. It would be okay. But I feel like we can do a little bit better, right? So let's do that. Dash dash underscore heading gap. And we're going to set it to our space. So right here, paste it in. This way we can dash dash underscore heading gap. And, ooh, I got the wrong one. Let's go back. It's actually this one. Dash dash underscore heading gap. And now dash dash underscore heading gap for this space, which is 400. Okay. Excellent. So we've taken care of that and we've made sure that we haven't added to our selectors. Okay. It's just a little bit messy. This allows us to do it in one line, whereas here we need 3 unless we collapse this to a single line. So there's that. Same thing here. We're going to grab this, copy it, bring it down. This is going to be, I think it is 300. Excellent. Okay. It says I am missing something. What am I missing? Where is it? Oh, semicolon again. See? Always with those semicolons, they get you. So there it is. That's the FAQ card, so to speak, right? And in fact, look at it. If we're up here, let's collapse this down for a second. We have our heading and our div. Okay, we use the heading instead of an image, and then we have our content div. It's still kind of a card format, but here we are. Okay, so everything is working. We animate it really nice. It's all very, very pretty. It grows and shrinks because it's sitting right in the middle of the page. Okay, so let's commit that really fast. Git add dot git commit dash m. This is style FAQ. What did I do? Holy moly. I actually forgot. So let's back this out for a second. Git diff dash dash staged. Added, oh yeah, added composition. See, I actually didn't do that. So git commit dash m style add compositions and block styles. That's a bad message. Okay, I should have broken that up. I missed an opportunity, but there we go. Okay. So at this point, we have a working system. And in fact, if we go to here and open this up and find the design for desktop, okay, we can open this into my handy clean shot, crop it down really fast, trying to go fast because we are pushing the limit on this video, and then pin it. Should be 100% here. That's perfect. Going back to our browser, and there it is, right? It already works. It's already lined up. We need to take care of the background, right? Which means that we have some decisions here, okay? And the decision is the fact that this image should not be a background, okay? You might think, okay, I'm going to add it as a background image, and then I'm going to do a media query to change it over here. But you will lose a lot of control over this image, over how this image scales and flexes if you do that, okay? So my advice is don't do that. We're going to do it a different way, okay? Right over here, I'm going to set up a new thing underneath challenge wrapper because it's a bit of a component. I'm going to call it swirl, okay? Just like this. And that swirl is going to have before content. Just like this, okay? Content, again, we aren't going to use URL because URL is going to lose a lot of the functionality here, okay? But I want to be able to control things better. So I'm just going to leave it empty and move on. From here, we display block because we need to have both width and height. So inline size of 100%. My fingers still want to type width, but I'm trying. Block size of 232 pixels, okay? Which is the height for mobile. So if I grab this right here, it is 232, okay? And this one is going to be 320. So we're going to take care of that right here, okay? What else? Oh, background image, okay? This is where the magic starts to happen. So assets, images, background mobile. Yeah, sure, mobile, okay? Background repeat, no repeats, okay? Background size, not contain, but cover, okay? Cover will allow it to expand into its box while giving us the freedom to position a little bit. And we do that right here. So background position, which is top center, okay? This is going to be a hot mess for a second, but let's take a look. Oh, you know what? I didn't use it, did I? Right here, I need this swirl. I'm going to put it on body, okay? So class, swirl, save it, refresh it, stop with the silly. Seriously, refresh. There it is, right? There it is. It's pushing things down, but that is our image. We're going to position this a little bit in a few seconds, but here we are, okay? Moving on. Moving down, we have media, which is min width of 450 pixels, and we're going to change a couple things, specifically these two things, okay? So we paste those in. This one becomes 320 for the block size, and this one is desktop. Excellent, okay? Which should change that to our big swirly one. Excellent, okay? I have a question here, which I'm not ever going to know the answer of, but considering that this is an SVG and the mobile version is an SVG, I would actually go to the designer and say, hey, can we just use the one, right? Which would save you having to do a second download for the background image, right? For the mobile image, sorry. But for now, I'm going to do it the way that they asked. Okay. But SVGs, they're very small to begin with. I feel like you could just go with the desktop and get away with it. I really do believe that. Okay. Now we need to position this, which means we need something up here. Okay. And that something, I'm going to call it overlap. Okay. Now the overlap is display grid. And for our children, we're going to set grid area to be 1/1/-1/-1, which means that it starts at the beginning and ends at the end. That sounds weird when I say it out loud, but starts at the left side, goes all the way to the right side, starts at the top, goes all the way to the bottom of this grid. Okay. This isn't going to work because this does not get our pseudo selectors, so we do need the at before. Okay. Technically we should add after too, but just for now we're going to do that. Grab this, use it right here. Excellent. Again, it's on the body. Okay. Could I put it on something else? Absolutely I could. Okay. Absolutely. And there it is. There's the whole thing. We are done. Now you're going to notice that the image, if you do a side-by-side comparison, right? You're like, oh, you know, the image runs through the middle of this text. Okay. But I want to remind you that this desktop page here is 900 pixels tall. And my browser right now is not 900 pixels tall. So if I actually went into my DevTools, bring that back up, and I change this to 75% and drag this down to 900 pixels right about here, now it is actually running right through that text. So everything is still in lockstep, which is brilliant. Okay. At this point, we are done. Let's commit one more time and then review what we did. Git status, git diff. We added in some stuff for the background. Yes. Git add dot, git commit -m. This is style body, I guess. Body. There we go. And it is add background. Can't type anymore. There it is. Image. Brilliant. Okay. So git log --1 line --reverse so that we can see it in the order that we did it. We started out by pulling the files. We added our markup. We added some globals. Then we styled our details and summary globals. And then we locked it in. And if you go and look at the code, right? Again, we have kind of a card pattern in here. If we look at it, I really do believe that the card pattern is everywhere. But we have a little bit of stuff for the image. And then we use the browser's tools. We use what the browser gives us. We did not need to do detailed summary. There is no JavaScript file in here. It all just works because we're using what we've been given, okay? Which is awesome. And then, yeah, we have a lot of globals, especially details and summary, and a bunch of compositions, right? So we've used composition over composition over composition to get things where we need them to be. And then we added a little bit just for the FAQ. There it is. Well, hey, what is that? That's 20 to 30 lines, 20 lines, right? Just for the FAQ, because everything else is controlled above. Really, really slick. And does it work in Safari? Well, I showed you that at the beginning where If we go over here, back to this one, right? It will not animate, but it still feels pretty good. Okay. I don't consider this a broken experience. If your designers do, if your UX people do, then you will have to add some JavaScript to this. The good thing is that, again, you don't need to change your markup to do this. You can still use detail summary and some JavaScript to make this happen. So very cool stuff. Okay. That's it. We did it. This is my third time going through details and summary, and I always learn something new, and I hope you did too. If you have questions, please reach out in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. Until then, have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.